This is the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, beginning at verse 1. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and I will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. Verse 2. And the Lord Yahweh, while Yahweh shall answer me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. Verse 3. For the vision is yet for appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. I want to start off by giving all praises, all honor, all glory to Kol Haloyim, by Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rachak, Kodesh Katam. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so. Shalom to the Akwath and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is an edifying video. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, subscribing to this truth. To you, I say Shalom. It's the brother Yahweh Sop out of the GMS Cleveland Church, a fellow servant, coming at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. And basically, I was going to do a lesson. I was searching for a lesson, and I came across this article, and it made me say, wow, I'm going to do a lesson on this. This is all through the spirit. We living in a time that literally they're talking about digital money, neural links that you could just, you could instantly download information or, think a thought and the other person get the thought that has a neural link. All this, all this technology, you know what I mean? And that's, it talks about, signs being, that's what makes the scriptures a living book, because it actually speaks on the things that are going to come to pass. Us as being prophets, meaning we say before we prophesy, to say before, meaning, this book is things written in this book that are going to come to pass. Like I said, one of the signs of or the tokens, because Second Ezra talks about the tokens, which means signs, basically, of the time we're living in will be when being able to buy and sell with a specific kind of currency to be able to function in this society, you would have to have a mark, So that's the time of the sign. So you made me think of a few scriptures, and I'm thinking of Romans right now, because this is the book of Romans. Because being that we see these things, you should know what time you're in. You know what I mean? This is the book of Romans, chapter 13, verse 11. And that knowing the time, and now is high time to wake out of sleep. So if you're a so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, and you are, this message is coming across to you, it's time for you to awake out of sleep. It's a great awakening that has come about specifically in these last days. Right about now, I watched the elder speak on, everybody knows about the Israelites, which to a certain extent that's true. They might not directly say anything about the Israelites, but they'll say something that you will know that only Israelites, speak on. They'll word something the way that we word it. You know what I mean? So this truth has reached the four corners of the earth. You know what I mean? I watched them, the elders speak on how those Egyptology cats, they aren't that shit dead, and how true it is, because you can look at a guy like Sinetta, which like the elder said, he could be the elect. You know what I mean? Because it's not up to you. You know what I mean? It's who the Most High Yahweh chose before the beginning of the earth. You know what I mean? But yet still, that guy, he uses his platform. He a hustler. I give him that. But at the same time, you don't see him speaking about Kemet or anything anymore. Now he's interviewing Vocab Malone and trying to deal with Israel. Because right now, this is that fame, So it says, and that knowing that the time that now is high time to wake out of the Salaki. I'm gonna bring that all the way back. and that knowing the time that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than we believe. And right now you got a multitude of sightings on the chariots. You know what I mean? It's a particular brother in our camp, and he always seeing the chariots. But uh, the youngest brother in our camp literally was like, well, the area that they stay in always has chariots. I don't see the chariots often. I can recall a few times with brothers, and then it was one time I was with a Pacific brother, and we made a joke, but we saw like a multitude of them. But I don't see them that much, and I heard Elder Yashawamba make a statement on that. I mean, he made mention of that. You got brothers that see him all the time. You got brothers that rarely see him. I'm one of them brothers that rarely see him. But nonetheless, I still believe you got other people that seeing them. You know what I mean? And that's a beautiful thing. That's still just because I don't see him, that's not gonna shake my faith. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, that would probably boost my faith even more. But other people seeing them, that just solidifies my faith. You know, like it says, verse 12: "The night is far spent, the day is at hand," and the day is at hand. I forgot where is it at in Peters. It talks about the end is nigh. The end is near. Like I said, and the brother Bakar Moff always makes mention of it. He said, we're not in the last minutes, we're in the last seconds. You know what I mean? This man is scrambling. You done watched him actually socially engineer a complete change to society within a year. Got people so bamboozled, like people talk, they got the time mixed up. We've only been dealing with this pandemic for a year. I've had people tell me 2 years, all kind of shit. People talk about a year and a half of this, and I'm thinking to myself, like, right, the lockdown was only, you know what I mean? Like, lockdown was in March. Don't get me wrong, they said that the virus outbreak supposed to came out such and such. I ain't made to do that, but everything the way look you how about you outside. But yeah. So the day is at hand. It says, verse 12, "Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness and let us put on the armor of light." So meaning you needed to walk in this truth. You know what I mean? Like you need to come back to these laws, statutes, commandments if you're so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole, Indian, West Indian, or Haitian. Because although the Edomite is, looking like he literally bringing this about, is really ultimately Yahweh Shem outside. That's who's pulling, the Edomites strings. Uh, Let me get another scripture. Well, I only got two more scriptures, so let me bring out some of this article. I may not read the whole thing. This is out of Spectrum. It says brain computer interface smashes previous record for typing speed. Emily Watts posted on June 1st. It says the ancient art of handwriting has just pushed the field of brain computer interface, BCI, to the next level. Researchers have devised a system that allows a person to communicate directly with a computer from his brain by imagining creating handwritten messages. The approach enables communication at a rate more than twice as fast as previous typing by brain experiments. Researchers at Stanford University performed a study on a 65-year-old man with a spinal cord injury who had an electrode array implanted in his brain. The scientists described the experiment recently in the journal Nature. And that's just, it's not surprising. You got Elon Musk. I was watching the brother from Florida. I believe he's from Miami. His channel is GMS Salt. We met the brother one time because he happened to be in the city. I don't know if he had a family member here or a friend that lives here, but he came to visit the friend. And while he was here, he stopped by our camp, on our camp day. We welcomed the brother and whatnot. He's a powerful brother, made some edifying videos. He's the brother that had the video where it was a Jake and he was looking kind of destitute, but the brother, he just literally started calling the name. He gave that brother that name. Well, not that name, the name. And my brother was saying the name. And it was a powerful video. But he did a video about, basically how, I guess, I don't know if this guy's a scientist or he just like a in-house scientist or whatever, but he basically spliced some genes with a monkey with a dog. And the dog, literally, like this dog looked ridiculous. He's like, but the dog, he's like, the pup's selling for $10,000. And if you see this dog, it just. And then he took the monkey DNA and he spliced it with a fish. So if you see and he was like, basically, it didn't come out the way he thought, so he went back to the drawing board. But he released the fish into the ocean. And he went into the scriptures about how the Most High created each beast, birds of fowls, you know, each creature is created for its like kind. And showing you just how much of a devil, and, how just like a child like Esau is. You know what I mean? Because when you give a child great power. If you ever paid attention, when they made the Twilight Zone the movie, it was a episode on there because it was different episodes. It was one where it was a child that had like godlike power, and whenever it would get upset or go through its temper tantrums, it would do certain things to the people that it was staying with. He was staying with. It was a little boy. But, and that's how Esau is. You know what I mean? Like, that's why he's going to come down with great wrath in Revelations 12 and 12, because he said his power dwindle. He said he's losing control, and he's still trying to control. And that's the roughest thing about when a person that's used to being in control, watching that control wane or losing control. They don't want to get that up. That's why he's going to come down with great wrath. It says, the big news from the paper is very high speed, says Cynthia Chestek, a biomedical engineer at the University of Michigan, who was not involved in the study. It's at least halfway to able-bodied typing speed, and that's why this paper is in Nature. For years, researchers have been experimenting with ways to enable people to directly communicate with computers using only their thoughts without verbal commands. So why is it so far-fetched that when, the Most High give us these new bodies and these these spiritual gifts, blessings, and powers, that you're not gonna be able to mentally do a Professor Xavier? If they try to do these things with technology, why wouldn't you be able to do them spiritually? They got suits that will augment strength. You know what I mean? Everything left-handed, carnal, because he's a being. He's not a spiritual being. He's a carnal being. That's why he gave up his birthright. They got exoskeleton suits that make you run faster, carry more weight, be able to lift more weight. Why wouldn't the Most High be able to? What's so far fetched about Samson then? Without verbal commands, hand movements, or eye movements, this kind of technology offers a life-giving communication method for people who are locked in from brainstem stroke. Locked in from brainstem stroke or disease and unable to speak. Salakia for all that. Because I was in the midst of a thought, because I'm thinking like people don't even understand the whole concept behind Star Wars. George Lucas got that inspiration from the scriptures. Why do you think they was called the Jedi? When you go into Solomon's name, his name was Jedediah. And you had the choice between light and darkness, the force, and the dark side. You had one force, but you had the righteous side of the force and the wicked side of the force. Sure, you balance, because it was all the same force. It was just like these what devils know though. You know what I mean? Like I was listening to Karl Muff make statements and make mention of it. You know what I mean? These devils fucking know. You know what I mean? Like these, and that. Why do you think that they know who they is? If they know, why do you think you got a league called the Defamation League where you can't speak hate? You got people so paranoid. I was reading that out of the book Esau Edom. You got people so paranoid can't nobody hate. But they can hate them Palestinians. You know what I'm saying? Like, just fucking, like contrary to everything. You know what I mean? Like, hypocrites. Salakia for the digression. It says, successful BCI typing by brain approaches so far typically involve a person imagining moving a cursor around a digital keyboard to select letters. Meanwhile, electrodes record brain activity and machine learning algorithms decipher the patterns associated with those thoughts, translating them into the typed words. The fastest of these previous typing by brain experiments allowed people to type around 40 characters or 8 words per minute. that we can do all this, that we can do this at all is impressive, but in real life, that speed of communication is quite slow. The Stanford researchers were able to more than double that speed with a system that decodes brain activity associated with handwriting. So, yeah, this just showing you what they, I ain't gonna read word for word or go that in depth, but that's just showing you they didn't unlock some stuff, you know what I mean? That's why it talks about in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 28, about how he is wiser than Daniel. Uh, there's another scripture too. I had just used it, I, but I marked it on my phone. I can't think of where it's at. I want to say might be in Rome. No, I just was reading Romans. It's either in Romans or Corinthians about the wise. But I would have to go, like I say, not to digress. I would have to go like stop and look for it, which I'm not about to do. It says by comparison, able-bodied people close in age to the study participants can type on a smartphone at about 23 words per minute. The author says adults can type on a full keyboard at an average of about 40 words per minute. The Stanford researchers achieved the feat by repurposing a machine learning algorithm that was originally developed for speech recognition. The deep learning algorithm, called a recurrent neural network, trained over the course of a few hours to recognize the participant's neural activity when he imagined handwriting sentences in English. So they going into, like I said, an in-depth study of algorithms and how they came up with this technology. But basically, and they saying they using it for, you know, uh, to help a person that can't speak because of brain or spinal cord injury or whatever to be able to communicate still. But if you can actually get those thoughts and ideas and words from that person, Esau weaponizes everything. That's one thing about this devil. That's how you should know who this devil is. He weaponized the very air, the very water. Come on. The air you breathe, the water you drink. Because he's a son of perdition, meaning destruction. So why wouldn't he weaponize that? If he could take, it's like that movie Inception. They was used to stealing data out of a mind, but Inception was the concept of planting a thought in there. So why wouldn't they try to? Just these things to think about. I was listening to Elder Makma. He was speaking on, how like you got germ warfare, and they show that in that movie, The Crazies. Like basically, the people went crazy because of it was something released because they didn't want to literally blow up the town or destroy the town. They wanted to actually like contain and dispatch the citizens or the people considered a threat there while leaving the town intact. Funny how it's so much coming out. That's how we at the end. They talking about this Rockefeller report with what is that called? I downloaded it too because I was gonna read it. Lockstep. Lockstep. Go check into that. The brother from London did a video. That brother be bringing out some hella fire information. Call lawyer. How about Shimmy Al-Shad for that brother being in the truth and bringing that information out. Like this is going on right now. This is, the guy come on. I mean, he visits Parliament. He visited the government and brought this up. A whole scenario. Rockefeller and them did a scenario. What if a global pandemic broke out? You know what I mean? Yeah, it was Salakia for the digression. So, yeah, it's always something going on. So that, with that being said, that's gonna lead to, this Revelations. Salakia, wrong one. Revelations is this one. I have like so many Bible apps because, sometimes it's easier just to do it this way. It says, Revelation chapter 13, verse 15, he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. Who is he? It's this red Hebrew Edomite that's in power right now. Who's pushing this? Who is the face of pushing this Neuralink? I mean, who you see it? Who has the power to sit up there and make a statement and Bitcoin tumbles or rises up? Dogecoin and all that. Who did that look like? It looked like an Edomite to me. He says, the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as will not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Because at the end of the day, this man wants total control. I was listening to the elder apostle Gabar make mention of that. He was bringing out that guy, the guy that directed, either he directed or produced Trading Places. Uh, I can't think of his name right now at the tip of my tongue. But it's a famous video that was on YouTube. He was interviewed by Alex Jones, and he's supposed to have been friends with one of the Rockefellers or the Rothschilds. I think it was Rothschild, Nathan Rothschild or something. And basically, he was like, "What's the ego?" He's like, he wants to basically chip everybody, you know, because at the end of the day, look at. I mean, and this is all based on social experiments and social data that they gather. Because you got to think about it. Look how people conform so easily to just, the jab and stab. So when everything is on a chip to be able to actually maneuver, a lot of people. Well, Scripture talks about those that try to seek to save their life will lose it, and those that lose their life for my sake shall find it. You got a lot of people that's going to try to persevere and hold on to their life. So, you know what I mean? They're going to conform. And they already understand that. Yeah, they already understand they're going to have a certain amount of resistance. People that's not complacent. Because, that's with anything, you know what I mean? You got people that don't like change. Then you're going to have the spiritual people that just already know what it is. But you're going to have people that's not very spiritual, but actually buck up against this. And they're going to have contingency plans for that. But ultimately, they don't have a contingency plan for, that Isaiah chapter 34, verse 30. This is Revelation chapter 13, verse 16. And he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Verse 17. And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So that mark, meaning charagma, which is a decision, then you go into the Karax, which is a device planet, and when you go into the chips and the data that, I remember watching a Law and Order episode, because Law and Order actually it was so popular because it used to use actual things that was going on in the day. Like they would use real gangs, but they might change the name, but it would be based on that real gang, like MS-13. I remember they had one on the MOB, So yeah, that thing is coming. Like I said, it's not a coincidence they keep on speaking about all this digital currency. They say basically people trusted in the digital currency more than, how can something physically, like physical gold, be less than something digitally made up? Show you how this Edomite has these people's minds. Like when you really take the time to phantom that, when you really take the time to meditate on that, a person will trust in something digitally that they can't see. They won't believe in the Most High God, but they believe in this digital money. Oh, you got to know it's almost the end. Okay, I got one last scripture. Then I'm going to end it. Because, like I said, these are the times we living in. As a watchman of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and of the hopeful elect, we are to watch for these things. This is the book 2 Ezra chapter 9, verse 1. He answered me then and said, measure out the time diligently in itself. Because, we all, the Most High, it tells you, is long suffering. It tells you that the Most High, his thoughts is not your thoughts. So the time is not the same to us as it is to the Most High. Because at the end, they tells you a day to the Most High is 1,000 years. And 1,000 years is as to a day. So he doesn't, this thing will teach you to learn to be patient. You know what I mean? That's why it talks about tarrying. Though it tarry, wait for it. Though it seems like it's taking all day or it's not even going to come to pass. A lot of brothers, when they locked everything down, brothers was ready, willing, ready, and waiting. And then they opened everything back up. That's tarrying. But yet still, if you got the spiritual eye salve, you can see, well, okay, they open it back up to do this. That's one thing I respect about that young brother, Bakor Mouth, because, he got an eye, for a young brother. He He very, he has an older spirit, put it like that. Uh, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which is these prophecies, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. When you read Matthew 24, it talks about the earth wars. I mean, Salaki, the earth, I said earth wars. The earthquakes and uproars, you know what I mean, which we've been seeing. You know what I mean? You see, it's about iniquity abounding. You know, you seeing sin upon sin. You seeing all this judgment going on the earth, all this violence. I just did a video recently that show you how they playing with the numbers. I did a video one day. It was 17 people shot within 24 hours. The very next day, I had to do the video again because they said it was 30. I said, well, how they mix them numbers up? When you read the article, it say 30 in the title. When you read the article, it says 38 people got shot in the weekend. You know, and you got the other cities that, see way more violence. But you about to see, this is about to be a very bloody summer. And that's one of the signs. Verse 3, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world. Verse 4, then thou, Salakia. Verse 4, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. Verse 5, for like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. And you seeing the end beginning to manifest now. You seeing this dollar plummeting. You know what I mean? That's why inflation kicking in. You seeing the beginning and onsets of not just inflation, but a lack thereof of goods. That's why you having trouble finding certain goods. They talking about around Labor Day, not Labor Day, 4th of July. The meat. I mean, it's gonna be expensive to get certain meat. You know what I mean? I don't participate. I mean, like Brothers in the Truth shouldn't be participating in that type of shit. Period. Now, it's nothing off of if you just so happen to be out and about and a family member that's in the world still offers you a plate. It's a scripture to talk about. I forgot how it's worded, but basically you don't have to turn down no food, as long as it's not no unlawful food. But be honest, the closer we get, the more and more we supposed to be locked into this. So, what I mean? As far as, I was telling a female that I associate with here and there, and, she's not my woman or whatnot, but we do deal. And the thing is, like she was talking about how something had happened where it almost put her in a situation. And I asked her, she had went out to the bar. And I'm like, well, at the end of the day, you know certain things about the truth. I don't know if you following the videos now or whatnot, but you still trying to be holding on to the world. Like all that going to the bar shit is over. I mean, don't get me wrong, brothers that went to the bar here and there, but I remember the last time we all went to the bar, which was like, what was that? What did it say, like last year? Yeah, I believe it was last year. It was like half the camp went to the bar. We got so much in the spirit. We was cussing like we got upset in the bar. You know what I'm saying? Because we were looking at these people like the fuck. You know what I mean? So it was more so it turned into like we didn't really rebuke nobody or nothing, but we just like the spirit. We went there to get our mind off the world, just look at some soft bodies and whatnot, and it turned into we got angry at like these goofy ass people. So, like I said, at the end of the day, if you're not you in the world but not other world, you supposed to be locking into this truth as opposed to outside. That's what the book of First Corinthians was talking about. Who she that has a husband will love the world and her husband and the things for her husband. So roughly paraphrase. But those that don't have a husband will be more locked into this truth. And it talks about how a man that has a wife be as if he had none. You know what I mean? You shouldn't be focused on, these worldly things. And that's a tough pill to swallow. That show you how austere the Most High is. Call Loyam La Yahweh Shimi Shada that the Most High gave me this truth. Because, you go, I remember growing up in the world and you like, oh, the Most High, he did, you know what I mean? Like, he loves everybody. Yeah, the Most High say, shit, I don't care. Like what he said to Ezekiel, don't even cry for your wife. He killed his wife, told him he was gonna take his wife away from him. He said, don't even cry. So do that sound like a soft, like, you know what I mean? Like, come on, man. The Most High God you the people don't understand the Most High God, but you will though. They call him a terrible power. Terrible power. So, if you're so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the laws, to the statutes and commandments of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. We about to be coming to some amazing, terrifying times, and the only thing that's gonna protect you in that day is the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Your relationship with Him. That's what it talks about in the scriptures. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. And them rough ass times that's about to come to Jacob. Jacob's trouble, them times of persecution and pain. What is going to comfort you in this? Because the comfort is going to be for the, even brothers, because, brothers going to catch hell as well. But we going to have a comforter. This truth, these scriptures. You know what I mean? We already aware that we about to go into these times. For the person that's not, it's way easier to deal with something when you aware of it. That's just like if you was aware that you got to turn yourself in on a certain date. You going to get your house in order to go be able to deal with that. As opposed to somebody that just was riding along and got caught up in some shit and went to jail, they gonna bug out. I mean, they may not bug out. It's all the will of Yahweh Shah, but for the most part, they gonna be far more distraught. So call Haloyim La Yahweh Shah for being merciful that way to us, for real. So with that, if you're a so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the law, statutes, commandments of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh shall be destroyed. With that, I want to give all praises, all honor, all glory to Koho Loyal, La Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Bashim Rachak with this Katham. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing His truth for faith and sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so. Shalom to the Akwati and Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is an edifying video. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but subscribing to this truth. To you, I say shalom. Till next time, I'm able to come with another lesson. Shalom, shalom. Mawathalababah, shalom.